Hello and welcome to another episode of The Damn Right Show. I'm Adam, and today I will be looking at the possible future of Wonder Woman. So yes, Wonder Woman 1984, or WW84 if you're cool, is officially in the books. And how great was it? It was pretty meh, to be honest. It had a very fairy tale kind of feel to me, which is neither a good thing or a bad thing, but left you with more questions than answers. Why did Maxwell Lord get wind powers? And why did he have to stand in that blue light to get wish powers? Wish powers? The finale almost mirrors the Riddler's power collection from Batman Forever. Was this an homage? How did Cheetah become Cheetah? She already had her wish granted, and the wish to become an apex predator was an unofficial wish at best. Why did she relinquish her wish too? She lost the Wonder Woman fight because of power lines underwater, which if she had the same strengths as Wonder Woman, whose powers were fading, should have taken her out too. I do not understand, and you cannot make me. All in all, I call WW84 a reasonable timeout, but it wasn't everything that you would have ever wanted it to be. Oh, and what happened to the guy that Steve Trevor took over, and why was he chosen to be the Avatar? It's fair to say that this was very much a standalone movie, boasting no real direction for the future of the franchise, nor did it really connect the future that we were already aware of, having seen things like Batman vs Superman and Justice League. So this pitch can come straight out of nowhere and not disrupt a damn thing. Plus, how many gods are there? They kept saying God of Lies, doing anything to avoid saying Loki, because that would cause a whole can of worms to be opened. But we were aware of the Greek god's existence because of Ares from the last one. This boasts that there are plenty other gods at play too. My pitch starts by saying that Cheetah did not unwish, which by the way is really strange because it basically gives you the power to reverse bad things that you've done. Instead, part of her power is to be able to revert back to a human form. And because she has Wonder Woman's powers, this means that she's able to continue to go on through the decades with no or limited aging effects. Cheetah is the primary antagonist of Wonder Woman in the comics, so it would be odd to have her as a one-and-done villain dealt with soundly 25 years ago in the past. The plot would be set in modern times. Gal Gadot herself has indicated that she would like to see Wonder Woman set more contemporary, and that Warner Bros. Continues to figure out the puzzle pieces in building a universe. It does not serve them particularly well if they keep going back in time to tell stories that do not particularly serve themselves going forward. Who do they think they are? Star Wars? As seen with Marvel, the list of unused villains grows ever thinner. Wonder Woman, similar to Thor, surprisingly has very few A-list villains that we haven't seen be represented yet. So I would suggest picking a Justice League villain, though powerful, could be dealt with solo rather than having to call in the big boys. In this case, my choice would be Vandal Savage. Vandal Savage was a caveman that was imbued with the power of immortality from a meteor way back in the Stone Age. Over the thousands of years, he was able to amass great intelligence and even greater wealth. For some reason, Diana's love of Steve Trevor seems to have been a driving force of her motivations throughout her time on screen. In this case, he's a person who is obsessed with her, seeing her as a kindred spirit. Savage could have been one of the last men exiled from Themyscira, and could have been the impetus of the Amazons recognizing that evil that men do. After resurfacing back in WW2, World War II, not the movie, because that's 1984, right? Up until the battles with Doomsday and Steppenwolf, Savage has finally found an immortal or pseudo-immortal that he can finally settle down with. Diana wants none of this. In a similar vein, Cheetah sees Vandal Savage as the potential of a mate for life too, Swan style. Not Silver Swan though, different person. And her rejected affections only serve to reignite her hatred for Diana Prince, because in this way, where Vandal Savage has been a roaring success, Diana's been living comfortably, Cheetah has not managed to thrive the way that her other immortal-ish brethren have. Personally, I'm disappointed that we haven't had much mingling between the various franchises from DC Comics in the DC EU. So this is where I would have famed villain from Batman, Poison Ivy, working for Savage, who promises her what she really wants: land. That's the thing about DC villains, they bloody love their real estate. Poison Ivy is set to create some kind of potion that will have Wonder Woman fall in love with Savage, but Cheetah gets in the way, foiling the attempts, based around the other great Warner Brothers franchise, the Looney Tunes. Diana is aware that Savage is trying to do, and is caught in some kind of twisted love triangle of immortals-ish that will spill out onto the streets. There's no real need for the interruption of other Justice League members, save for maybe someone like a cyborg, who can be the mixologist that comes up with the anti-venom for Poison Ivy's love potion number 9. But check this out, here's a wrinkle. You may start to think about the next generations of some of these characters. Wonder Girl, either Cassie Sandsmark or Donna Troy, and Scandal Savage. Or how about this? They are the same person. Yes, so not only is Vandal Savage obsessed with Wonder Woman, it is further compacted by the way of his daughter idolizing her, to the point where she decides to become a superhero in the shadow of her idol, carrying on the moniker of Wonder Girl. Who is their mother? Well, I don't think that's really important, but if they really have to implement Linda Carter into this, well, why not have her? After all, they gave her that all-important post-credit real estate scene. Diana sees the potential in this young woman and feels obliged to be her mentor, knowing all the while that her father is trying to get into her pants. Hey folks, do you enjoy wrinkles? Well, let's whammy you with another one. Diana is smart enough to see through Vandal Savage's BS early on, but it becomes abundantly clear to her that he was the one that killed Linda Carter's Amazon for some unknown reason. Vandal is about to kill Cheetah because she's being way too notice me senpai, or whatever the female version of a simp is, and Wonder Woman has to intervene. Knowing a little about Savage Industries and their general ambivalence towards the environment, she lures the battle to the Louisiana swamps. I think you see where this is going. We get a special appearance by the one and only Swamp Thing, who drags Vandal and Cheetah into the murky depths, but holds back on killing them by the persuasion of a kindred spirit, Poison Ivy. He opts to imprison them for as long as he sees fit, and Swamp Thing and Ivy ride off into the sunset on a crocodile or whatever. Enraged by her father's imprisonment, Scandal Savage admits that she was the one that killed her own mother after her disappointing of knowing the shared ancestry of the two, and how she was ashamed that her mother never took the potential to be the hero that Wonder Woman was. In the ensuing fight, Diana gets her arms around Scandal's neck, waiting to hear that snap, but changes her mind, knowing that she was the product of the madness of her father and deserves a second chance. Wonder Woman has a nice sit down with Amanda Waller and has Scandal become a part of Task Force X, aka the Suicide Squad, knowing that she won't be in any real danger due to her high damage threshold, under the agreement that only she will have the final say as to whether or not she has paid enough penance to rejoin society. The post-credit sequence would see Vandal Savage and Cheetah getting along reasonably well in a darkened alien ship. Suddenly it begins to rise to the surface of the swamp, and the door opens to reveal Lex Luthor standing there, using an alien tool to control the ship, the helmet of a clearly deceased Hawkman, suggesting that the ship is Thanagarian. Lex quips about how nicely this place will serve as a base of operations. How about that, eh? This sets up a whole slew of things. Wonder Woman and her dealings with folks for future movies, Wonder Girl joining the Suicide Squad, which could later see her join or lead the Teen Titans or Young Justice, the establishing of more founding members of the Legion of Doom, as well as their base of operations, and whatever the hell you plan to do with Swamp Thing, teamed up with Poison Ivy, a match made in the Garden of Eden. Some folks want to see Cersei as the next villain for Wonder Woman, but the whole ancient god thing has gotten a little old, especially since we are likely to see more of it coming by the way of things like Shazam 2 and Black Adam. This way, a hero needs to deal with the idea of being idolised, the idea of what a superhero does affecting the people around them and will have an impact on. I also like the idea that a hero could be reformed from being a villain in the way that this puts Wonder Girl. The closest we've really had to that is the Suicide Squad in general, but that was just kids' toys to begin with. So that's my pitch for Wonder Woman 3. I don't know what the future of the DCEU has in store in terms of actual universe building, considering it has all of these different fragmented areas, whether it be Joker or the Batman, etc. But I think it would be a pleasant surprise if the feature that did the most, and the most palatable way too, would be Wonder Woman. So sound off in the comments below on what you think about this idea. What would you like to see in a Wonder Woman 3? Please subscribe and I will see you in the next video.